Hey guys, how's it going? Professor Shuckle here, your coach of the Dark Cave Darkrai. Today I'll be going over our Week 6 battle for APA Ascension. Our opponent for the week are Elm Street Darkrai, coached by Dark. As you can see, this is a bit of a bragging rights battle, as we both share the same franchise mascot in Darkrai. So yeah, it would be cool to get a win over them, and we could claim to be the better Darkrai team and etc. So yeah, should be a fun one. Let's jump into the matchup real quick. As you can see, our opponent has a roster of Aerodactyl, Greninja, Typhlosion, Kyurem, Rotom, Stoutland, Mega Scizor, Gala Farfetch'd, Wildplume, Hippowdon, and Hatterene. Mega Scizor is really has gotten a lot of buffs this generation just because there's no hidden power fire, so I can't randomly hit it with it can set up on a lot more passive threats because they wouldn't have coverage for this. For example, my Roselia would not have HP fire, so the Scizor can freely set up an SD on it, for example, which is pretty cool. Aerodactyl, pretty annoying too. It's their best Pidgeot check, especially with boots and roost. Because it has roost, it's a reliable check to Pidgeot. Greninja, always scary. I expect it to be an expert belt mixed attacker with low kick for Tyranitar, Gong Shot for Florges, War Shuriken for Drill, and then Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, or U-Turn to catch the Lati, Pidgeot, etc. Typhlosion, don't really expect it to come just because I have a T-Tar and Florges and Vikavolt and a Latios, so you can't really click Eruption freely. So yeah, I don't expect that to come. Kyurem, always a threat. It could be sub roost to attacks. It could be Dragon Dance with Icicle Spear, Body Press, and Dragon Claw or something. Yeah, it can be a scary threat for sure. Rotom, don't expect it to come just because my drill could be Mold Breaker, Earthquake. Can also have Shadow Claw. I guess it could come as a secondary Pidgeot check for sure, but it stabs pretty good versus my team actually, and it can always burn the Tyranitar. So yeah, I could see Rotom coming. Stoutland's a threat as well for sure. In Sand, hits pretty hard, and I don't have the best resists on my team. My resists are Vikavolt, Curse-Claw, and I guess Wishy-Washy. But then if he's Sand Rush, he can't really touch Curse-Claw. So yeah, it can come, it may not come. I don't think it'll come just because if he's bringing a Sand Rush variant, he's giving me Sand. So yeah, Mega Scizor probably coming pretty good Lati check. Even though Lati has Mystical Fire and it can be Aqua Berry, it can be especially defensive and tank one and then U-turn kill my Lati. Its Bullet Punch is also pretty good for beating a lot of my team, and then it can have superpower for Drill and Turn, etc. Could also be Sword Stand's pretty good, U-turn's pretty good momentum versus my team. It's also pretty good Earthquake resist once it's Mega Evolved. It only takes 30 or 40% from Drill and can roost it off. Gala Farfetch'd, I don't really see coming, that's a Little Cup Pokemon. Wildplume, again, don't really see it coming just because I have a Pidgeot and Latios, and since it's Grass Poison, doesn't really resist Excadrill. It can be annoying for sure with Effect Spore, Strength Sap, and stuff. I guess it could be a Mienshao check, but they have Hatterene, which is a pretty good Mienshao check, so don't expect Wildplume to come. Hippowdon is, probably coming 99%. It checks Excadrill really well, +2 Earthquake, only does 50% to this thing. And I can't even beat it with Magnet Rise just because it can have Body Press. Rocks are really nice as well for Pidgeot and stuff. It also is pretty decent check to Mienshao. 100% expect this to come. Might not be Sandstream, especially if they don't bring Stoutland, just so they don't give my Excadrill Sand. So yeah. Next up, Hatterene, not last but not least. This is a huge problem for my team. I actually don't really switch into this mon at all. Florges is the only Pokemon that switches in on it, but then like Florges cannot touch Mega Scizor this gen. Unfortunately, there's no hidden power fire and it didn't get mystical fire. So yeah, another like just because Mega Scizor, Florges is kind of bad. So but it's the only Hatterene like switch in. So Hatterene is really annoying, especially if it's like Trick Room. I think it just straight up gets 3 kills unless I predict right and get my switches correct. So yeah, but saying that, we still have a pretty like fun team to try and tackle on this threat, and let's jump into our own team now. So first up, we have the Mian Xiao running Assault Vest again. Similar to like the first time I brought it. Its speed is for the Typhlosion. Pretty bulky, and just a little bit of attack with U-turn, close combat, knockoff, poison jab. This is like our main response to the Kyurem Greninja core. It can switch into special Greninja and special Kyurem pretty well and force them out. CC just because I didn't really want to miss high jump kick and I didn't really need the recovery from Drain Punch, like I needed a stronger hit. Also because if they go Mega Scizor on this, close combat has a chance to kill regular Scizor into Mega Scizor if they're not physically defensive. So that's pretty cool. Knockoff just to get rid of items and stuff, especially if like their response on this is Hatterene. Getting rid of its item is pretty cool, especially like an Assault Vest for Laddie or something. Poison Jab is just for the Hatterene if it's in range, and I can pick that off, especially since I'm Assault Vest, so it could be a lure. So yeah, but the main reason for this is to be a Greninja check and then get a free U-turn as they switch out. So yep, next up we have Wishy-Washy with the Rocky Helmet again. And max physically defensive, Scald, U-turn, rest, sleep talk. This is our primary response to Aerodactyl and Mega Scizor. So I expect the Aerodactyl to come in every time we go Mega Pidgeot, and then we can really go Wishy-Washy and then click U-turn, because this thing will eat any hit from the Aerodactyl unless it's like Dragon Dance or Hone Claws and starts critting us with Stone Edge. And I don't expect like offensive Aerodactyl just because they need a Pidgeot switch. So I expect the Aerodactyl to be like max HP, max speed, like speedy and bulk and heavy duty boots. So with roost and stuff. So yeah, like Wishy-Washy should be able to eat. And then since they want to preserve Aerodactyl for Pidgeot, it should give me a free U-turn on anything that wants to come in and give me offensive momentum. So that's pretty cool. Rocky Helmet is nice chip on the... I thought it was nice chip on the Mega Scizor, so it gets in range of like CC or Heat Wave or Hurricane from Pidgeot, which would be pretty cool. Next up, we have also Rest Talk, just for recovery as usual, and pulling U-turn on a Sleep Talk is pretty cool. Like, it doesn't give up momentum if we pull off a U-turn while we're asleep, which is nice. Next up, Vikavolt with heavy duty boots. Max HP, max special attack. The speed is just in case the hat tries to creep us. Modest, so we hit as hard as possible. Volt Switch, Bug Buzz, Energy Ball, and Roost. If you look at the team, they don't really have a switch in for Vikavolt. Like, Aerodactyl doesn't like Electric Stab, Greninja dies to Bug, Typhlosion doesn't want to take an Electric Stab because it's frail. Bug Buzz is really nice versus like a Sub Kyurem as well, and it can Vikavolt can eat hits from the special set. Rotom doesn't really like to switch in as well. This can also be a switch into Rotom, which is nice. Stafflin doesn't like it. Mega Scizor doesn't like it. Wildplume doesn't like Bug Buzz. Hippowdon doesn't like Energy Ball. Hatterene doesn't like Bug Buzz. So yeah, Vikavolt's really good offensively here. First I was going to be Metronome as the item so that we could just keep spamming Bug Buzz, which was pretty free versus the team. But I took out Excadrill last minute, so I didn't have any removal on my team, so I decided to go Heavy Duty Boots because I expect Roxap to be on my side just because of the next Pokemon on my team, which is Mega Pidgeot, Bird Jesus coming in again. This is a pretty interesting set. It's modest with some special attack. The speed is again for Typhlosion by 1 point, and it has a lot of bulk. So this allows me to live a Specs Ice Beam from Greninja from full. This also allows me to eat a Bullet Punch from Mega Scizor after switching into Rocks 2 times. So at 50% health, I still live a Bullet Punch pretty comfortably. which is nice. Hurricane Heatwave. Hurricane is just the best stab move there is. The only thing it doesn't hit is Aerodactyl and Rotom, and Heatwave hits the Rotom. I have Toxic for the Aerodactyl, which should be the likely switch in once the hat is weakened. Roost is for longevity and allows me to roost up on because this forces switches. Roost can be pretty free sometimes. Yeah, Heatwave is for the Scissor. Even with this spread, I believe it kills all forms of Mega Scissor just because of how strong this is. So yeah, I expect this to put in work. This is one of our pretty good win con, and it's one of our best way of killing Mega Sizz. So I definitely have to play this decently and try to utilize Wishy-Washy's slow U-turn and bring this in and click Hurricane. So getting the Toxic off on Aerodactyl is very important because if you don't get the Toxic off, the Aerodactyl comes in every time on Pidgeot and just freely roosts or threatens a Stone Edge. But once we get the Toxic off, we are punishing the Aerodactyl every time for coming in. It'll take 35 or 40% from Hurricane, plus a 6% from Toxic. And if they decide to stay in, they're going to take 12%. So they're either forced to roost. And if they roost, that gives my Wishy-Washy a free switch in without damage, and I get a free U-turn. And if they attack, then they have to switch out on Wishy-Washy, and then again, they're giving, next time, they can't even switch into Hurricane from Pidgeot. So getting that Toxic off is really important. And I'll only click Toxic once the hat is weakened, so I know it won't switch into the Hurricane. So getting damage on the hat is pretty important. Next up, we have Latios. Expert Belt, max special attack, enough speed for Typhlosion again, rest in HP. Mystical Fire, Dragon Pulse, Shadow Ball, Roost. So just the regular 3 attacks Roost Expert Belt set. Mystical Fire is just for the Scissor. It's also pretty good mid-ground play. It covers the Greninja and Hatterene switching in and lowers the special attack, meaning I can stay in the next turn. Also, this set lives like a Life Orb Night Slash from Greninja, unless the crit. I think Bandit has a chance to kill, but then I don't expect Bandit Greninja to come. Dragon Pulse is again pretty nice stab in general, hits everything except the Hatterene and Scissor, and then because of the Hatterene, I have Shadow Ball. With Expert Belt, it does about 60% if it's not Assault Vest, and it's just max HP. So if I get a good hit off on it, I can kill it with Shadow Ball. And if I get a Mystical Fire on it, I can actually eat any hit from it, so I can stay in and Shadow Ball. And Hatterene's only recovery is Draining Kiss, I believe. So with Mystical Fire, the attack is weakened, so Draining Kiss is weaker. So this could potentially stay in versus the hat and not give a momentum, or at least not allow a free Trick Room, which is nice. Last, we're bringing Cursla for the first time. Lumberry, because of the setup we have, so in case the Hippo tries to Toxic us, we'll be fine and get up a free Calm Mind and start putting some pressure. Perish Body, Cursla has 2 awful abilities, both of which were a hindrance here, so I picked Perish Body just because I thought it might be cool if Scissor is the last Pokemon and its Sword Stance. And to damage me, it would have to click Bullet Punch or Knock. And if Perish Body activates, that gives me 3 turns to play around and maybe go for a win that way. I thought maybe it could come clutch in a situation, so I had it. This is pretty physically defensive. Some special attack and a little bit of speed to creep like a hat trying to creep us. Strength Sap for recovery. Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, Giga Drain. If you look at their team, they don't really have a Shadow Ball switch in. Their only Shadow Ball switch is Greninja, which doesn't really count because it takes a lot of damage, and any damage on it is really nice. And Stoutland, and I don't expect the Stoutland to come. And apart from that, they don't actually have a Shadow Ball switch in on their team, so I don't really need any other coverage. So if I Calm Mind up, it also makes it harder for them to revenge me, which is nice. Giga Drain was just versus the Greninja or Hippowdon, because Hippowdon would be my primary target for setup. And if I Calm Mind, I don't need to predict the next turn. I can just Giga Drain versus a Greninja that might try to aggressively swap in. So yeah, that's our team. And I feel like this is a pretty solid team to take on their roster. So let's jump into the matchup and see how it goes. As you can see, our opponent brought a team of Megasis, Hippowdon, Hatterene, Aerodactyl, Greninja, and Vileplume. What did they not bring? Oh, they didn't bring Kyurem, which is pretty good for my team because Kyurem could have been really annoying. I didn't have the best switch-ins for it other than Mienshao. So seeing Vileplume was actually fine just because I had a Pidgeot and a Lati to threaten that. Although Vileplume could be annoying with Sleep Powder and stuff because I didn't really have a Sleep Powder switch-in on my team. Hippowdon is probably their rocker just because I expect Aerodactyl to be Boots and Roost with Rock Blast or Stone Edge. Crunch probably for the Lati and Wing Attack maybe. Or Earthquake, sorry, for the Excadrill and Tyranitar. Greninja, I probably expect a mixed set with Expert Belt to cover everything. As for leads, I thought my best lead was Vikavolt. Again, they don't really have a switch into this at all. They could lead Aerodactyl, but unless they're really offensive, I don't think they kill my Vikavolt. And if I lead Vikavolt, I could have been Sash Vikavolt, and if I click Volt Switch, they lose their Mega Pidgeot switch-in for the game. So I don't think they would risk a Vikavolt, dying to Vikavolt turn 1. They could be Rock Blast, but again, if they don't get a lot of hits on me and I'm physically defensive, they would lose their arrow again. If they lead Hippowdon, I just click Bug Buzz or Energy Ball, do a lot of damage to that thing, which frees up my Mienshao as well a little. If they lead Hatterene, I just click Bug Buzz, try to get as much damage as I can on it, take out another Hurricane switch-in, because Hatterene is bulky, so I could take a Hurricane. And yeah, anything else, I can actually click Volt Switch or Bug Buzz pretty freely, so I thought Vikavolt was just my best lead. So I decided to lead off with that, as they lead off with the Hatterene. Now here, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna give this a free Trick Room or a free Calm Mind. I'm gonna click Bug Buzz. I'm max special attack. I'm gonna do a lot of damage. Even if you're Assault Vest, you are giving me information regardless. So I just click Bug Buzz as they decide to stay in. I think that's a big mistake on their end because Hat was really good. And but I guess from their point of view, they don't really have a Bug Buzz switch. So I guess it makes sense, but they could have gone Vileplume and because Vileplume I don't think did anything this game unless they got it in. Yeah, I don't see, but yeah, getting damage on the Hat was really nice for me because now it dies to my Mega Pidgeot's Hurricane, and this damage told me it was just max HP and probably max attack, max special attack modest. So, which is really good for my Pidgeot now because when my Pidgeot comes in, I don't expect them to go Hat because they'll die when they have a free Aerodactyl. And I can click my Toxic off and get a free Toxic on the Aerodactyl and punish it for coming in every time on my Pidgeot. So yeah, I click Bug Buzz, do 63% as they click Mystical Fire and do a lot of damage, which looks really bad because I'm again, Wiccavolt's so good offensively, but I just took a lot of damage on it. But the damage on this was far more important than HP on Vikavolt. So I was honestly fine with this trade. I do get a Spadef drop. I don't really think it mattered because Bug Buzz would still be a roll to kill this regardless, even after the special attack drop. So yeah, but it did force them to switch out. I guess I would have given them an option to go for the roll. But I was actually just clicking Volt Switch and they go Vileplume, which is fair because now my special attack was dropped, so I was not going to do a lot to this. But this is perfect as I Volt Switch, get slow momentum and go into Pidgeot. This is a free Mega for me, and I actually click Toxic here now because I know the Hatterene cannot come in because it'll die to a Hurricane. As they do go Aerodactyl, and I get the Toxic off on it, which is really good for me. And now every time they come in to take a Hurricane, they're going to take 35 to 40% from Hurricane plus 6% from Toxic, which is really cool. Here I can safely go Wishy-Washy. It's a full health. Nothing this does can scare me. So they go for Stone Edge, hit, but do only 23%, showing they're not super offensive. And here I can click a U-turn safely. I expect the Vileplume to come in, which it does. now I go save, and this time I decided to actually go into Latios, trying to like get rid of the Hatterene or like get damage on something else. Uh, I don't expect this to stay in because Psychic would obviously kill it. I thought they would go Hatterene, so I just thought my safest play was Mystical Fire. It covered everything, like an aggressive Scizor switch, expecting a Psychic. If they went Hatterene, Mystical Fire into like Shadow Ball, kill that thing. If they go Grant and it's special with Mystical Fire, I can actually stay in next turn, giving me more momentum, and a Dragon Pulse would actually kill this thing. So yeah, that's what I do. I just stay in because if it's special, they can't kill me after the special attack drop. And if they're physical, like I level Life Orb Night Slash, the only way I would die was Bandit, so I thought the damage was worth it. I didn't want to switch out in case they went for U-turn because then they would get all the momentum that we've been building for all these past turns. So I just stay in, I click Dragon Pulse as they go Hatterene. Doesn't really matter because Shadow Ball kills this because I know it's not Assault Vest. And I just click Shadow Ball and take it out. Which is cool because now there's no Hatterene. Which is like, I don't have a switch in for that thing, so that's pretty cool. They're going to Greninja again. And this time I'm going to switch out into my Mienshao, which is Assault Vest for this thing, as a Quintang. That damage immediately tells me this is choice specs, and the damage Mienshao took should tell them that I'm Assault Vest. But here, this is a free U-turn for me because Grand can't, even if they flinch me, they can't kill me with another Dark Pulse, so I can just free the U-turn. They go Hippo instead of Scizor, I guess. Not really sure why. Thought Scizor was probably the play so they could Mega Evolve and get their bulk. But they go Hippowdon. I just chose that to go into Pidgeot. They still don't know how much invested I am, so Hippowdon would take a ton from Hurricane, and I didn't think the trade was worth it because Mienshao was looking kind of scary with Hatterene gone and Vileplume like weakened. So here, I just click off the freest Hurricane, and I do a clink 37%, and then the 6% Toxic, and as you can see, why that Toxic was important is, now this is in range of a Hurricane. So if he doesn't Roost, he can't switch into my Pidgeot next time. But I could have gone for an aggressive Hurricane here, but in case he did just click Stone Edge, losing Pidgeot was really bad for me because it was one of my best ways for Scizor, so, and my Wishiwashi was at pretty good health. So I just decided to go into my Wishiwashi as a safe, like it didn't lose me any momentum because this doesn't have pivoting. And he decides to go for Roost, which is fine, but now again, I get a free U-turn. So, and it's the same thing, he's trapped in the Vortex. As I go Pidgeot again, and this time I click Hurricane again. He can't really go Aerodactyl because 2 Hurricanes would kill it. And if I got the Confusion, then it again becomes like a risk for him. So he just decides to sack off his Vileplume, realizing it gave up too much offensive momentum every time it came in. So, which is fair. And we're looking really good. We're down like, we're up 2 months. Here, I could have stayed in because I lived to Specs Ice Beam or Specs Hydro Pump and kill this thing. But if I did that, I would be in range of Bullet Punch. And like Aerodactyl would kill me. And the only thing I could roost off on was Hippowdon. And if Hippowdon got Rocks up, I wouldn't even be able to come back in. So I decided to save Pidgeot just because I thought it had so much more potential for clicking Hurricane and Heatwave and abusing the Scizor and Hippowdon. So I decided to go Mienshao, thinking he would go for an Ice Beam and I could take 2 of those. But he actually goes for Hydro Pump and misses, which is really unfortunate for him because if he hit, it would have done about like 60 to 70% to my Mienshao, which is like really good damage and would force me to switch out and sack like probably my Wickervolt, which would take away a sack for him like later to like Arrow or Scizor or something. So yeah, that miss really hurts because now I can stay in and just U-turn because Hydro Pump doesn't kill, like even a crit Hydro. And yeah, like really unfortunate for my opponent, and I apologize for that. Gives me a free U-turn here to get momentum as they go Hippowdon. But I actually clicked Close Combat this time, thinking they might go Scizor. And I had the chance to kill Scizor with CC in regular form into CC on the Mega form. But I just click CC as I go Hippowdon and show lefties. Kind of a misplay here, I guess. I should have just clicked U-turn again and gone into Pidgeot, repeated the same cycle. Even if they go Scissor, I could have just clicked Heatwave, so yeah, I guess a misplay on my part. Although CC covered like an aggressive Aerodactyl switch in, which, yeah, I'm not really sure, because even if they go Aero, I could have gone Wishy-Washy freely and got off another U-turn, so yeah, bad play on my end, and then I compound that by making another bad play. I'd already shown I was a Southwest, so I didn't really need to bluff Scarf or anything, and like I should have U-turned, definitely gotten a little more chip on this, and gone into Pidgeot rather than Hard Switch, but they go for Rocks, which is what I predicted, and now my Pidgeot is in again, and I can click Hurricane again. They go Arrow, I click Hurricane again, do 38, get the confusion. Here I thought about risking it, but with Rocks up, and if the Scissor was like Max Attack Adamant, it would actually kill my Latios after Rocks. So I thought my best way of killing the Scissor was Pidgeot, so I decided to save this here again, and actually sack my Vikavolt. I didn't go Wishy-Washy because with Rocks up, if he clicked Stone Edge and got a crit, I would be in range of the next Stone Edge. So I decided to just sack off Vikavolt, which was actually not doing anything this game because it was going to die to like a Bullet Punch, probably, or like U-turn from Scissor. I could only roost on the Hippo, but like the Hippo was just more fodder from my Pidgeot. So I just decided to sack off Vikavolt as he actually pulls the double and goes into Gren. Kind of risky play, but like works out for him. I decided to sack off Vikavolt anyway, so I stay in as he clicks Dark Pulse, which is good for me because I could know what this thing locked into. As he went Dark Pulse, I could just freely go Mienshao, click U-turn. As he goes Scissors this time, which is fine. As I go back into Pidgeot, and here, the Heat Wave is so obvious that I thought he might try to go into aggressive Arrow. And obviously Hurricane does more than Heat Wave, and Hurricane would kill the Arrow. So I clicked Hurricane, expecting like an aggressive Arrow switch. And again, as I said, I don't really take a lot from Scissor, and if he let Scissor die, then my Latios was freed up and even my Mienshao. So he decides to go Hippowdon and sack it, which is fine. 2 Hurricanes kill that thing, confusion didn't matter. He goes Arrow again. I decided to save this again because even with the next round of Rocks, I would still be able to live a Bullet Punch from Scissor. Here I decided to just sack off Lati. If he roosted, it was fine for me. Like I decided to sack Lati again, just the same reason. Get Wishy-Washy in safely rather than with the Rocks and the potential of taking Stone Edge. So I go Lati as he roosts, I believe, which is fair. I thought he would have Crunch and kill my Lati, so I was just sacking this off. I click Dragon Pulse, but he goes for Stone Edge and doesn't actually kill me, which is good because I get the Dragon Pulse off and I actually crit and kill him. I don't think it mattered too much because that was still doing like 60 or something and then 12% poison. So he would be in range, like at worst he would have killed off my Lati along with his Arrow and given us like a double down, I guess, which is a little bit better for him. But at this point, my play was 100% always to go Wishy-Washy on the double down because it covered the Scissor and it covered the Greninja. So yeah, like I'm not sure that mattered too much. He goes Gren. I decided to sack off my Lati. He goes for Dark Pulse again, which is fine because that gives me free Mienshao. I click U-turn here. Yeah, I tried to click U-turn, got flinched, didn't matter because I lived like 2 more Dark Pulses. I clicked U-turn, it didn't kill, I knew that, but I couldn't risk the Scissor coming in. So, like, CC again was, if I CC'd and killed this thing, Scissor got in for free, which is what I didn't want because it could have, an aggressive SD on my Mienshao would have lost me the game. So, yeah, I click U-turn and go Wishy-Washy because I know I can live a Dark Pulse from this thing and U-turn again. I click U-turn but get flinched. Kind of unfortunate, but doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Just loses me a little bit of differential. I can go Mienshao again, and as long as I don't get flinched like forever, I would be fine. I don't get flinched, then click U-turn, and that should be GG because I go Pidgeot. I live any attack from this thing, and just click Heat Wave and kill this. Turns out he like misgened and didn't have Bullet Punch, but as I said, max attack, Adamant, bullet punch from this thing only did like 37 to 42% to this. So it would need like the high roll crit to kill me. And that would mean it would be max attack adamant, so which is very unlikely on a scissor when you can just sword stand. So yeah, that is our week 6 game. I felt like we played really well early on, especially with the U-turn from Wishy-Washy into Pidgeot or Laddie to put offensive pressure. Like, this is the first time Mega Pidgeot actually really shined and got like 3 kills and put a lot of pressure on the opponent's team. Wishy-Washy and Vikavolt were like again really good. Vikavolt was really important. Like, I know it died and didn't get a kill again, but getting that bug buzz off on Hatterene was really important and made that thing useless for the rest of the game. Kind of unfortunate we didn't really get to use Cursla. This is also like the last week we have Cursla because I'll be dropping this for Gliscopod for before our week 7 battle. Just because I don't think Cursla has been doing anything for me. Like, if you go to a team, as I don't bring webs on Vikavolt just because my team speed tiers are pretty good and I have sand. Yeah, like Cursla is not doing anything. It's not a spin blocker. It's so frail, bulky, so frail physically that it can't even spin block nicely. It doesn't take a knockoff like it dies, and it has 2 awful abilities. So yeah, we'll be dropping this for Gliscopod, most probably, which gives us a ground resist. We only have immunity so far, so ground resist is actually pretty nice. Gives us priority in the form of first impression and Aqua Jet. It's pretty strong, pretty good physically bulky. Gives us another bulky warrior. We've been bringing Wishy-Washy a lot as our physically bulky warrior, but we could now bring Gliscopod, especially with Wish support as well as Boots, where it doesn't take rocks damage. It also gets spikes, gets Leech Life, Liquidation, pretty strong coverage, close combat. So yeah, I think that works on a team a little better than Cursla. So yeah, that'll be all for this week. I'll see you guys next week with our week 7 battle. Now we're 5-1 and still like in the top 5 or 6 in standings, which is pretty good, like pushing for that bye for playoffs. I think another 1 or 2 wins might actually clinch us our playoff spot as well, which is really cool. So yeah, until then, see you guys and have a nice day.